We are beyond excited to be able to show you guys the Vicon Valerus platform for the very first time. This is something that we've been working hard on for a couple years now, and we are excited not only to be able to show it to you, but to be able to get feedback from all of you guys. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Frederick Wahlberg. I am the Director of Field Marketing for Vicon, and I'm going to be joined today by Vicon's Director of Product Management, Mr. Guy Arazi. A few housekeeping notes that I want to talk to you guys about. You are all attendees on this webinar, so we are not going to be interactive. However, we are going to be fielding questions throughout the webinar, and we're going to have a short Q&A at the end of the webinar, time permitting. So if there are any, if there's any questions that we see sort of a track on, we're going to be able to answer those. If we do not get to your questions, then we will be able to answer those privately afterwards. So again, excited to have you guys here, excited to show you guys this product. I'm sure there's some people on the call right now that are existing Vicon customers or Viconet users. So let's quickly walk through the agenda here so you guys have an idea of what it is that we're going to be talking about. We have first we're going to talk about the standards-based open platform concept. This is something that's unique to us. This is something that we should be explaining to all of you in terms of the strategy of how we've built out this platform. In order to understand that, we're going to quickly cover ONVIF and where that stands today. Then we'll be introducing to you Valerus. And then on the logistics side, we'll talk a little bit about the tiered system, our licensing, and how we're going to be doing the upgrades. After that quick, brief intro, we'll be talking about the demonstration with Guy Arazi. And shortly thereafter, we'll talk about the migration path for those people that are existing Viconet users. And again, time permitting, we'll be able to answer a few questions that are put forth on the webinar today. All right, so let's get started. You know what's really excited about Valerus is that this is built from a blank canvas. We have years of experience of people that have built VMS in years past, and we've built it completely from scratch. This is going to be the cornerstone product of new Vicon. Now, as I mentioned, this has been built out for a couple years in the background. On the forefront, we've made the change to new Vicon. And as you can probably see from our new website, we've put the opportunity smack dab in the center, and we've built a technology ecosystem around that. Distributors, resellers, A&Es, integrators, everyone that's part of our technology ecosystem plays a vital role in the direction that we're moving forward. We also want to talk the talk. We want to walk the walk. We've built a white paper, which is actually one of the handouts that's included here today. You'll see that there's 5 handouts on the webinar. We have both a feature sheet, a data sheet. The Rise of the Standards is what the white paper is called. And this gives you guys a very good idea of the open platform, true standards-based open platform concept, and really the difference between how we're building out drivers and the idea of the existing proprietary driver system. If you haven't read this, again, it's available as a handout. We've also developed the Vicon Developers Forum, or VDF for short. This is really built to support out our integration community and our idea of being open. So we have drivers both on our camera side, our VMS side, and all of our third-party integration is housed here. All of this has really been built out on the forefront and pushed forward as the new Vicon, while the Valerus platform was being built in the background. So if you're on this call right now, I'm guessing most of you probably know what ONVIF is. Let's brief time talking about ONVIF. Now I understand that this is a little bit of a busy slide here, but we're going to specifically focus on Profile S. ONVIF has become the industry standard in the security marketplace. And these are really the different profiles that all of ONVIF supports. Valerus is built on the ONVIF standard. In fact, it's built on the ONVIF. What we support right now is Profile S. And really, one thing that we need to make clear is that all VMS manufacturers are going in this particular direction, where the drivers are going to be ONVIF-centric. Now, the fact that we're able to build this from a blank canvas really leaves us a step ahead of the competition right now in terms of the direction that we're going in the marketplace. Profile S. We hear a little bit of talk about, well, we need a deeper integration with certain cameras, and we need to make sure that the integration is actually going to work. Well, Profile S has been on the market now for well over a year with a 95+% success rate. So not only has it been vetted, but it's been working in the field very well. Now, the VMS API is ONVIF-centric as well, making integration with its standard. Additional plugins for non-ONVIF devices are constantly being added and can be added in the future, depending on your feedback to customer. So here we are, the Vicon Valerus product, finally being able to introduce this to you guys. And these are really the concepts that we've built this platform on. VMS experts with years of experience. Not only have we been in the industry for several years, we've also been able to get feedback from customers, get feedback from integrators, get feedback from A&Es, the entire technology ecosystem. We've been taking these notes, we've been implementing it in this particular platform. Again, I mentioned this, but building this from scratch really gives us the flexibility and makes us a little bit more nimble in terms of the direction of the product. So we can make a sharp turn when our customers ask for it. By going on Profile S and building it out as a true standards-based open platform, it's opened up a lot of resources to build out real-time requests based on your customers' needs. Again, this is a philosophy and direction that's a little bit unique in the market right now, but you'll see that a lot of VMSs are going to start going this particular direction to free up those said resources. We have a strong backbone, and we also have a very easy-to-use interface. So it's really built to create user efficiencies. So there's that term, something that you guys have all probably seen in the physical security market, easy to use. Now, most people talk about easy to use, they talk about the interface. While our interface has been built to be easy to use, we really want to make sure that the entire chain of deployment has been simplified without the sacrifice of features and functionality. We really wanted to focus, based on customer feedback, the deployment time for system integrators. We want to make sure that that's reduced, setup wizards, making it very simple to set up and running. We have a simplified tier system, a 3-tier system that I'll talk to you guys about here in a second. The administrative use has been simplified as well. And really reducing training time for the end users. The fact that we can have an IT expert and we can have somebody sitting at the front desk, they're all going to be able to use this product depending on how they want to use it. And if we have new people coming in, that reduced training time is going to help the end user as well. It's 100% browser-based. We have a thin client that's built with usability and flexibility in mind. At the end of the day, ultimately, working with live video, playback, and export is really clean and easy. And we have a health monitoring system, or a health dashboard as we call it, that can monitor your entire system and can be eventually used as a business tool as well for either the end user or integrator side. During the demonstration, Guy will be talking about this a little bit. So we've built a truly complete security solution that integrates with the entire industry and delivers what you need fast and reliably. So here are some of the things on a very high level that you're probably looking for in a VMS that we said. We sat down and said, these are the pieces that we need for our VMS. We need nice, crisp HD resolution. True openness. We need it to be easy to use, the entire chain of deployment. We need it to be ONVIF compatible. We need a health monitoring system so the integrator can service their customer much better. And ultimately, we needed reduced training. And what do you need most probably from your VMS? You need to be able to find and deliver evidence fast. And these are some of the concepts that we've built this VMS around to deliver to you today. Let's talk just a little bit about the topology. We'll probably have Guy touch on this a little as well during the demonstration. But it's available in software only or factory configured hardware. It's built on a LAN backbone where you can add the application server, web server. You can add as many NVRs as needed. You can add web clients and mobile clients. You can now centralize or decentralize. This is probably a topology that you guys have seen before, but it's also available in a standalone system, which is a very cost-effective solution for a single PC. You can have multi-monitor support. You can record locally, access clients and video from anywhere. Proactively reduce system issues with Valerus Health Dashboard. This is what I was talking a little bit about earlier. So what does this mean? System status can easily be defined. This is one tab within the user interface where you can see everything, all the errors, warnings, health sign. Very simple to see what's happening and monitor your entire system. Obviously, this makes managing large, complex sites easy. As you can see, all from one singular spot. You can have monitor application server, NVRs, and camera connections all in one area and gives you the details of what's happening with each one of those. Obviously, just a still shot right here, but we are going to be able to see that in live time with Guy here in a little bit. Now, in the future, you'll be able to proactively schedule and maintenance and service. We'll have multi-system window that will provide installer the opportunity to monitor multiple customers if that's how you want to do it as a value-add service. Let's talk a little bit about the tiers. So we try to make this as simple as possible. Many of you have probably seen some of the VMSs that are out there, and you can see that some of the tiers are a little complex, a little convoluted, not exactly sure where you fit in. We try to make that as simple as possible. So we have 3 tiers that really help segment the market and deliver a product that's the right fit for you. Tri-Core Pro, simple, 1, 2, 3. Our Tri product is a completely free version. We of course encourage you all to try this. You can have up to 6 edge devices, 5 concurrent clients, and you can have up to 7 days of recording. Our Core product is up to 35 edge devices, 10 concurrent clients, and has what we like to call our standard features right now. The Pro tier is unlimited edge devices, unlimited concurrent clients, and has all the advanced features, including Active Directory. Now, this is set up as a per camera license model as opposed to the per NVR system model. Let's talk a little bit about the advantage of central licensing. The entire system has a single license, reducing deployment time and frustration. So, again, some of you might be existing Vicon users. This is a slightly different way of going about it. And again, when we talk about ease of use, we're talking about exactly how we can service you, the customer, not only with the software, but from a business perspective and a support perspective. So over a widely distributed installation, this greatly increases the ease of deployment and use. We allow you 30-day grace period for licensing, making setup even easier. You can connect automatically, update over a network connection one time. Any changes to the NVRs or cameras do not change the license for the Valerus software. There's no individual licenses for the NVRs anymore, which is something that you might be familiar with if you're using the Vicon system. And us, as a company, Vicon, we feel that we can service the entire customer chain more efficiently under one license. We've also moved to an upgrade protection plan. So why did we move to an upgrade protection plan? This is a software that has a very robust roadmap, one that we want everyone to be able to keep up on. And this is the most affordable way to stay on top of that. So this ensures that you have all the features unlocked in the tier that you've decided to go with or that fits for your customers' needs. The migration path as you build out your system is far less expensive doing it this way. So we have a prorated price. So if a renewal is done within a year, for instance, the charge, you can do it, the renewal process, pardon me, is sort of within a year. So it's prorated. And then typically we'll charge that out on a quarterly basis, and it gives you a nice grace period and gives your customer a nice grace period as well. So again, this is version to version, not tier to tier. The subscription plan is tied into the licensing, and it greatly reduces your total cost of ownership. As we start building this out, we'll probably have a few other handouts for you that will include a greater description of the upgrade plan and how it works for you. It really gives you and us the opportunity to manage the customer and deliver on our service ethos. As part of the new Vicon, we have a new service ethos where we want to step up our service to you, the customer, and this gives us a greater chance of doing that. We feel it's going to be faster customer support. We went to our customer support and they said, hey, under the quoting system, we're going to be able to have one license. It's going to be far easier for us to use. And something I should make very clear, the UPP is not tied to support. So from the way it is today to how it is once we implement UPP, there's no change there. So what you see in front of you is a series of verticals. And Vicon has traditionally been very strong in certain verticals. And we feel that the Vicon Valerus product, with its flexibility and scalability and its fit in the SMB market all the way up to the enterprise market, is going to open up more opportunities and more verticals for you. I am now going to hand over the reins to Guy Arazi, and you guys will get a nice demonstration of the software itself.
All right, thank you, Fred. I'm just going to move this to my monitor, and you guys should be able to see my monitor. And before I open up, you know, I'd like to thank everybody for being here. I see quite a few familiar names on the list here, so that's exciting always to see names that of people we've been working with. What I'd like to show you during this demo, obviously we have limited time here, so I'm going to touch on the more important things and try and show you how simple and thoughtful this new Valerus system is and what we've done to make things a little easier. We're going to log into the system. We're going to take a look around the basic main screen, talk about the operator, and then go back behind the scenes and take a look at how things are configured in the background. There's a lot of things that we've done there, and it's really exciting to see. Once we do that, we'll go back, look at the dashboard that Fred already mentioned, and close the demo with a video export, which will be one of the things that all of us need to do once we have evidence. We'd like to obtain it, and we'd like to export it and see how that works. So I'm going to start here, and as you can see, you know, I am using a web browser. And up here on the top, you can see that I'm browsing to an IP address. That happens to be the server here on my system, but that's what anybody using Valerus is going to use. In other words, if you install the recording servers with the NVRs or any other server, those don't have their own application, different application for different machines. All we have is one web browser that logs in to the system, and everything is managed through that interface, no matter where you open that on. If you are trying to work from a mobile device, tablet or your phone, we do have applications that will run on both iOS and Apple, as well as on Android, and you can connect with those from the mobile devices. All the rest, browser. So I'm going to log in here. And we're going to take a look at the beginning at the main screen, the monitoring screen. And you will be seeing the screen that most people see when they use the system. At the end of the day, most users are really in front of the main screen. On the left side here, we have a list of all the resources that we can use, video, audio, all the different resources. I'm going to touch on those a little bit when we talk about configuration. And those are listed here right now in a flat list. Monitoring is used by anybody looking at video, playing back video, exporting, and doing any kind of regular application. Configuration will take us into the configuration area. I'm going to show you that later. VAX is our access control integrated here. And dashboard, which we'll touch on back in a minute, is the health monitor. As you can see, the main area is built really for video. We take as much place. We have controls on the top that control the entire area. And I'm going to throw in a few cameras in here so we can get some video going. Hopefully, with our connection here in the webinar, you should be able to see pretty decent video. Its system supports any level, any HD level, so there's no real limitation here. I'm going to show you some of the operations we typically do. Double click will bring us to a full screen, which I'm going to do again in a minute to show some other controls. We do allow full flexibility in moving around cameras. So I can grab a camera, move it to the left, and you'll see that it's going to swap places with the other camera. I'll do it again up here on the top right. And this allows the user really to control what he's seeing. Now I'm going to just grab a view and add it in here. You see that tab called Day Shift. This was a pre-prepared view, and that's something in Vicon that we didn't used to have. You can see that in my view, we actually have more than just video. We have a web page. In this case, I just put CNN weather in here. But content other than video can be put into these views, and they can be added. Once more, you can see that these are different tabs, and like in a browser, we can click on a tab and move around from tab to tab. Important piece here is that the tab can just be dragged over to another monitor. So if the Valerus client is running on a multi-monitor computer, you could move your tabs around and use all monitors, just like you would do with your browser. Another example of what we typically try and do when we view video would be to look for details in the video. So I'm opening my digital zoom box, and you can see right now it's showing all that scene up top left. And I'm going to mark up an area, let's say the cab, and move around the area. I can use my scroll mouse, and I can just go grab that red rectangle and move it around to zoom in. The better megapixel camera I have, and you know Vicon goes up to 12 megapixel today, obviously the deeper we can digitally zoom, but see how easy it is to do that. Another thing that we'll typically do is we'd like to go and play back video. The heart of these systems is recording and playback. I click my playback button up there, and you can see that the timeline opened right at the bottom of the video. We don't have a dedicated playback screen that takes you away from the main one. We open a timeline. The red line at the bottom shows you what's recorded, and I can move my timeline left and right. I can use my mouse to zoom in and out of the time, and I can basically find the time I want to be playing back. If I go to my controls on the right, you see a blue cursor that shows where the current time is, and you see it's right in front of the recording, which is really our live view. I can click the button, open up a calendar, call up a time, and go to a time that I need to. If somebody said, hey, at 2 in the morning we had an incident, I can go right there. Or what more likely will happen is I can go to my timeline, just click on a certain time, and you see that my blue cursor just jumped there, and I'm in playback mode. That easy. On the right, now we see a timestamp because we're in playback and full playback controls. So this allows us to go and do everything we need, like pause the image, go rewind the image, fast forward. All the trick playbacks that we're used to do are available right from these controls. One more important piece here is that we can click the loop button and open up these additional blue brackets on the bottom. If you see, I'm going to move them around, and you see that I can actually loop a certain area with these brackets and move my playback inside the brackets. What I'm doing is really limiting the playback to go from a certain time and end at the end of the loop. When we do investigations, so often we see something and we want to see it again and again just to make sure that we saw what we need. Maybe we want to zoom, and we don't want to keep rewinding and rewinding. We just want the system to keep showing us what we need. You'll see that as the cursor gets to the end, it's going to jump right back to the left, and it's going to show us that loop over and over and over. When we talk about archiving and taking video away, you'll see that these brackets will be used also to determine what we want to export. And you just saw the jump to the beginning of the video. So I think this is a good time to show you what we have really in the background there and how we set all this thing up. Let's just move into configuration and take a look at how all this list came into play. I'm going to start by showing you our quick configuration, which is really what we did here to allow somebody to as easy and as quickly put his system together and get his system going. And the concept is simple. In so many places, we put a system together, we wire everything up, we plug it in, and we want to be able to get the system up and running to a certain recording position and allow fine-tuning and configuration to be done later. But we want to make it snappy and we want to make it easy. What we've done is we put this wizard together, and you'll see that it asks a few questions and follows that routine. So we're doing a quick discovery of everything on the network, and you can see our report shows we have 2 NVRs and 3 cameras. That's what I have set up here on my network just to show you, and we'll list what we found. So if something is missing, you can look at the IP addresses and know what's missing and go find out why it didn't show. Then we'd like to assign IP addresses. That's one of the things that takes a long time when you need to go and assign IP addresses. If you need to go with different discovery tools, different machines, and do that, that might be really time-consuming. We allow to provide a range of IP addresses, which is the typical thing you would do when you deploy a system on your private network and just have Valerus go and dish out those IPs to all the devices and practically become its own closed network. In other places where you have IPs set up in advance, or maybe you have a DHCP network, you can click the button at the bottom, which I'm going to do here for my demo as well, to just keep the IPs. You don't have to give IPs away, but you can. I'm going to keep the IPs and jump to the next screen, which will ask you, hey, is any camera set up with a password and a user different from the default? So we've made sure to include in our database all the known username and passwords for cameras in the industry. Whatever we know, we put in there. If those are on their default password, there's more than likely we will find it, and you won't even have to provide it when we connect the cameras. If you already configured your cameras with a different password because you didn't want to keep it on your admin one, we will allow you to say, hey, I added a new password. Let's say I added Guy and Vicon. You can add those in, and I'll use those. And next, we do encourage everybody to put in a new admin password so the system is going to stay protected once it's configured and not with the default password, which so many people forget to do at the end of the day. System is going to run. It's going to run its procedures in the background, and once it's done, it's going to show us a quick report of what was configured and how it looks. You can see that it's showing what was discovered, what was configured, and even if something fails or partially fails, we're going to show, like here, that an NVR failed, and the reason is that the storage failed on it. This is because I really didn't connect the drive to that specific NVR, but here you see the error right at the end of the configuration, and you can go right away and take care of it. So to quickly recap what was done here by this wizard so quickly. We've assigned IP addresses from a requested range, or we leave them as they are, depends on the user. We connected the NVRs that we found. We connected the cameras that we found. We connected the encoders that we found. We evenly distributed cameras between the NVRs. So as many NVRs that I have, I'll evenly have the system distribute the cameras between them. We configured default streams. We selected all the available drives on NVRs for recording. We started recording the video 24/7, and we changed the default password if requested. The bottom line here is that we now have a fully functional and running system. So I'm going to keep going here and show you the manual side of it, but here on NVRs down the list, you can see that my 2 NVRs that we just added with the wizard are already listed. And look at how simple the layout is. There's a middle section which will list all the NVRs. There's a right section which shows the properties, and you see that we made sure it's not crowded, it's not busy, it's only showing information that's important. We have a green check mark for status, it's online. We have a red one when it's not. We can configure IPs and ports, users and passwords, as well as drives, like from here. And it's all done with very simple, very easy measures that you can also use from a tablet. So you'll be able to move this slider from a tablet, and all these are very, very flat and simple to use from any device. Now that the NVRs are in play, I might want to add NVRs that were not discovered or were added. And you can see the button here shows me the number 12 in parentheses. And the 12 are 12 additional NVRs that were not discovered or were not added yet in the system. So when I open that, you'll see a list of all the other NVRs. This is my lab network, so obviously we have a lot. I can check a box and just add them all in one shot, just one shot to add them, or I can be selective and choose which ones belong to my system and add them in a selective way. I'm not going to do that here. Next, we should talk about adding NVRs manually. Why would you have to do that? Well, if the NVR is behind the internet or behind a different VLAN or somehow cannot be discovered automatically, I might need to click this button and add the NVR manually by giving it IP and credentials. And obviously, I can remove NVRs if that's needed. Maybe something changed. Maybe I'm stopping recording. I can do that. Let's jump to the next one, and cameras and encoders will show you a very similar screen. Although here, you can see the two NVRs, and under each one, there's an encoder. Those are the two devices that we discovered before, and they are equally distributed. So one encoder each, and if there were more, again, they would be equally distributed between the NVRs. On the right side, again, very simple, only the ones you need properties to be able to make the changes and keep connection to the NVR. And if I need to add my discovered ones, very, very like the other screen, my NVRs on the left, I can pick an NVR, pick more cameras, add to my NVRs, remove them from my NVRs, and just manage which cameras fall under which NVR. So if I need to make changes or do this manually, it's very easy to do. Again, discovery. If they weren't discovered, it can be done manually, and they can be removed from the list at will. These steps cover really the hardware. We have the NVRs added, we have the cameras added, and now we can go in and look at everything that they brought into the system as resources. I am going to show you the resources, focusing on the video one. I will skip some of the other resources that get a little too complicated for a webinar, but we'd love to talk about them if you come to our booth or talk to our salespeople. You can see that on our video resource list, I have 18 different resources. Those are 9 out of each of my encoders, so now they just become a list. And I named some of them, changed their names, which you can do here on the right. Again, properties on the right, list on the left, similar concept. All the changes can be done from here. I can make a decision whether they show on my lists or no, just a button. I can open the device web page. If I need to browse to the camera and do things on its web page, I can do it from here, which typically won't be needed with Valerus. And if I need to add audio resources, add microphones in places like an interrogation room where I need a microphone to go with the camera, it can be done right from this button. As we keep going, we need to talk about video streams. Currently, Valerus supports 2 streams. Going forward, we will add support for more streams. And you can see that for each stream, we'll show certain defaults that Valerus has put in the camera. Depending on the camera, we'll get a list of resolutions that that camera can support. Different cameras will give different lists according to their capabilities, and we can go in and make a choice and just keep configuring the system according. Change the frame rate, the keyframe interval, the bit rate, as well as the other parameters. I can do my stream 1 and stream 2, save them, and now just to mention stream 1 and 2, as we go and talk about recording, you'll see that we refer to these when we talk about what we want to record. Let's take a look at that. So by default, we do record all our video channels, and we do offer recording retention. If somebody, typically in Europe, there's limitations on how many days you will allow to record. Valerus offers that per channel, so that's very easy to configure and turn on. We work by schedules, either 24/7 or some other schedules that you can put together and add to the list. I'll mention those as we keep going down that list. And we can build as many schedules as needed. There are 3 recording modes. One is event only, so only when an event occurs we'll record. The other is continuous, which is all the time. And the last one is a continuous event, and here you can see my 2 streams set for the regular recording and the continuous, what happens on event, and post-event. Motion alarm, we consider that an alarm by default, but we can also specify additional alarms. And look at how easy this is. On the top I have a drop down that will show all the different events that we might receive, and when I choose one, the list filters to only the devices that are relevant for that event, which means there's no room for mistake. I can only pick devices that can produce those events. Picture settings, this once more goes to what the camera tells us. So we connect to the camera reports the capabilities it has and the picture settings that we can set up for it, and we do all that from Valerus. This means that for all these, there's no reason to browse to the camera and make changes on the camera and do all that from the web page. All that is right from the VMS. I want to talk about this apply to button. This is a great update, and those of you who used Vicon before know that you had to do the streams and recording and picture settings for each camera separately. Here we can do one camera and apply any settings that we want. I'll open this up and you see that we have a selection of which settings do we want to apply to others. Is it streams and recording? Is it picture settings? Is it both? And I have a list of all the cameras that are capable of receiving that similar. So this can be all my indoor cameras. I'll do one camera and apply the same settings to a group of cameras or all the cameras. This is a huge time saver when you go to configure a group of cameras. Instead of doing it one by one, you do the main one or one representative and push it to all the others, which in most systems is a really similar group of cameras. Masking, when we talk about masking, this is not a mask in the camera, this is a mask in the VMS. So the mask that you see here on the right is shown on the picture, and it's really meant to do something different than one that comes from the camera. It's meant to be removable. So if I go to my monitor here and drag the camera, here's the mask that we just configured, but when I go to the control tab, you will see that I can unmask that mask. That can be done live or playback. So if I'm someone who has permission, of course this is controlled, I can unmask if needed, which allows way more flexibility than on a regular masking from a camera. I'm going to add a PTZ camera here at the bottom just so I can pick it up and show you how another tab is being added when the camera is a PTZ. This is a tab that won't show when a camera is not PTZ. And when we go in there, this is the tab that allows configuration of our presets, of our camera tours, and everything that has to do with that PTZ. So of course I can drive the camera right from the picture itself, and I can go and save a new preset. Let's add a preset 4. I can name the preset if I want. I'm just going to use the number here. And I can go and look at my other presets, send the camera to them and go to see what they are. Make changes, make additions. And now, when we jump again for a minute back to monitoring, if I pull this PTZ to our screen, you can see that we have that different icon here on the top as well. That's our PTZ control, which is only for PTZ cameras, obviously. And clicking it will allow us to go to those presets that we had from before and move around. We can also control the picture right from the video. So the mouse cursor changes to that little black triangle instead of a mouse standard cursor, and we can drive the camera. We can use the mouse wheel to zoom in and out, and we can get the camera positioned wherever we need it to be. I'm going to put it back on my preset so we can go back into configuration to the same point we left out. So this pretty much summarizes our video resources, and let's look at the others. Audio resources, audio channels are the microphones. Input audio only, digital inputs and outputs. I am going to skip the configuration on these as they're pretty basic. And I want to show you what we do for web pages. Do you remember that CNN weather page I had included in our daytime view? So going in here, you'll see that I have a page called weather, which is already configured here in the system, and that's our page. And being that the whole system is browser-based, there's nothing easier than just adding a page, giving it a name, and putting in the web address to browse right to it, and add it as a resource to our list. Once it's there, it can be included in everything we want to do. We can just drag it. This can be instructions. This can be anything that we want as part of our resources. I'm jumping into views because in views we have that day shift view, the one we dragged and opened the tab before. And the views are really meant to create these in advance. Once more, for anybody that used Vicon and had to write macros, this simplifies life completely. We can open the list, we can change the view layout if we want, we can grab a camera and change the contents of the view, and we can create as many views as we need. Now all it takes is dragging those right to the monitoring screen and seeing them instead of writing complex macros. Those views can be put into tours, so I can write tours and add a view after the other and say how many seconds each view is going to be shown. And this way, running a tour will be very simple. It's going to show view 1 for X seconds, view 2 for Y seconds, and whatever we configured. We do support the ability to create groups in the system. So the group will really take our list here on the right, the resource list, and allow us to put it in a hierarchy. So instead of having a flat list like I'm showing here on the right, we could create any level, campus in its buildings, in its floors, in its rooms, and put the resources, the cameras, the web, the microphones, everything right under the building and the room where they are. And when we go and do authorization, we can do it together. In schedules, we'll create schedules like we shown before, and this is really like in creating a schedule in Outlook, including repeatance, day, year, week. And then we can create rules. The rules would be an event and what the action following that event would be. Like a door was opened and a sensor was triggered, I want to show some video, I want to sound the siren, and so on and so forth. Very important, obviously, for operators waiting for events to create something. User management-wise, let's go and take a look at what we do there. We do have the way to have Valerus run a full user database, but if you have an Active Directory, we can connect with Valerus right to the Active Directory and have all the user management done from Active Directory. So either or, not all those together, of course. In user groups, we do have 3 standard groups, admin, operators, and supervisors, which have their roles. You can use those, or you can create your own groups and add them to the system. There's no limit on groups. Same goes for users. You can create your users. By default, we have only the admin. You can, for any user you want, define their different password rules, define their how much time are they allowed to log into the system. If they're a contractor, I can say, hey, you're only allowed for 30 days, and so on. Every user group can be managed and given a certain authorization. Are you allowed to go into monitoring? Are you allowed to see the dashboard? Are you allowed to see a certain resource, that camera and this camera? And if we do those, like we said before, if we do that for a certain member in the group, let's say we do building A is not allowed to move PTZs, anyone who has building A in his group is not going to be allowed to move the PTZ. So at one shot, I can do the whole building. If I have some cameras in there I need to change, that can be done, but typically I can do that in one shot, which is a huge, huge time saver for configuration. Last, at the bottom of the list, and this is really kind of by the priority of how we do things in configuration, we have the ability to connect to the internet. We talked about tablets and phones and browsers from the internet, so we can define those. Some networking parameters, those are very technical for now. And one that's worth mentioning is licensing. So Fred did mention that we have 1 license per system. Our system, in this case, unlike Viconet, has 1 license that defines everything that you can do with it. And one very, very cool thing we do here is that when you go and install Valerus, we provide a 30-day evaluation period. That means that you can, for 30 days, without licensing the system or without activating the license, that's really the term, you can work and use as many devices as you need, allowing you to take your time, put the system together, and then go and obtain the license either from Vicon, maybe it's in the office, maybe the system is offline. Anything that's going to delay you, you'll have the time. 30 days is a lot of time to do. You see on my system it says 16 days left. There's a list of all the licenses that you've acquired, and if the system is available for online activation, which the green check mark here says it is, we can go in and activate it when we decide to do it. So activation will open a form, and we're going to ask for some details, the end user details, the dealer, the integrator's details, so we can provide support to whoever calls. The license ID is the only thing we will be sending you when you buy a system, and once you have your license ID, you can put it in, put the details in, and activate your system. You can also, if you want, go in and activate your system as a free limited version. So Fred showed the Tri version, our 6-channel system. For activating a free version, you don't even need a license ID from Vicon. If you hit this button, it's going to reactivate it as a free version, no problem. At any point, you can get a new key and buy additions and reactivate your system and get additional license, all this from one single point. If the system is offline, the process is really, really similar, where you will have the system provided with the key, go to the Vicon website, get your activation key, and get it going back with the offline, maybe use a thumb drive to bring it over or something like that. Simple and clean. So I'm jumping back to the monitoring. As we said, we're going to take a quick look at the dashboard, and then I want to show you how we go and export some of the evidence that we've collected here. So our main screen, obviously, Fred mentioned the dashboard, and he's shown you one slide. I've added, to show you guys, I went on and disconnected a couple of switches here, because I want to show you what the dashboard shows people. And it shows that we have an application server, and you can see it's showing healthy, one green. And we have 2 NVRs, and they're healthy, so everything is great there. But here's our proxy server and showing an error. Let's take a look here at the proxy server and see what the error is. It tells us the IP address of the specific device and what the error is. And in our manual, you can see what it means and what to do. Even worse, here on our cameras, there's 88 of those. And I did take off a couple of switches from the network. And you can see that for every one of the devices, we'll get the IP address so we can go and find it, and exactly what the error is so we can go and take care of it. So very clean, very simple, and really, really not crowded. When there's no events, all you'll see is green numbers. It is important to mention that the future we're seeing for this dashboard is to allow it to be providing a little bit of problem solving, and to be able to click on some of these errors and get some instructions on how to fix things, and anything that we can do in the background we will. It's also planned to be able to control multiple systems from one dashboard, so an integrator can control all his different customers from one dashboard. So let's go and do the export. I see that the time is really chasing here. I just brought up 2 cameras, and typically when you have your evidence and we want to go and do an export, you will either know the time that you want to do your export from, or you'll do it right from playback. We can do an individual camera. There's an icon there for export, or we can go to the same icon on the top, which will be the whole screen. And you see that I clicked it, and both cameras are now showing on the list. If I need to change the time and date from here, if I didn't set them up from playback before, I can go and click it here. It will open a calendar and show us the from and to time. Super easy. I can use those blue brackets that we mentioned and fine-tune my time right there on the right, and it will change it on the list. And if I have a camera that I want to add here and I didn't remember to put it in, I can actually click my plus button here and go pick a camera from the list. Let's get the kitchen camera added here. And even though it wasn't displayed, it's easy to add it on. So I can do it with displayed, without displayed, from a clean one, from not clean one. On the top, you'll get a progress bar, and it's really, really important to say here. We're working the browser, so all the work here, the export is done by our server. Even if the browser is crashing, closing, everything is done in the server. It's going to wait for you when you come back and look for it. I'll click on it. You see all the cameras, including my third one. My kitchen camera is still there. and I'll click my download button, and like any browser, anything we download from the internet, we get this message. This should be familiar to all of you guys. I'm going to just say where I want to save it. It's going to save as a zip file, and if you gave it a password, that zip is going to be locked by the password, and we're going to save it right here and take a look at how it looks. So it's downloading, it's actually security scanning it. The browser does that. So that comes with the browser itself. That's not even us doing it. And when we open it, you'll see an HTML page. I'm going to double click that, and it's going to open a player, which is very similar to what the application looks like. So we're keeping the same look and feel for those who want to play it. I'm going to skip the authentication here just to save us some time. And all my 3 cameras are showing. Hover will show you what is recorded, start and end time, and I can just drag them over in the same way we've done the rest of it. So you will see they open up right with the timeline. Obviously, they're playback only because this is after the fact. And I can do all the controls that we talked about, including digital zoom, step by step, looping, everything can be done. I can change my layout if I have more cameras. I can sync them. I can do anything I've done on the other application. So as simple as using the main one and using the same concept in a browser. I am seeing that we're reaching the end of the demo, so I'm going to stop the video and close this. And with your permission, we're going to keep going and jump right back to the slides. I'm going to give Frederick the screen again, and while he loads our screen, I'm going to start talking a little bit about migration from Viconet. This is an important part that I'd like to cover, and obviously there's a lot of Viconet users out there. Some of them are going to keep using Viconet for a while. They're comfortable, they have their systems, they want to keep going. Some of them need to keep using Viconet for reasons other than their comfort, because they need certain functionality, because it's specified in certain areas and so on. Some will be using Valerus, and we realize that we have to keep going and supporting Viconet. Obviously, we will keep running with Viconet, but at a certain point, we would like to offer a very simple and very intuitive migration path from those Viconet systems to Valerus. One of the things that is a concern when we talk about migration path is how complicated is it going to be to migrate my system from an older one to a new one? Do I need to go to all my machines and install software on them and take the risk of that installation hurting something? Do I need to spend my time going machine by machine and doing that? Those are pretty time consuming. What we are planning to offer as we keep going down the roadmap is a very, very different concept. Instead of doing those upgrades and touching every machine, we would like to offer a simple migration path. And the concept is like this. We're going to start by this whole migration being managed by an add-on. And we call it, currently we call it our gateway. That gateway is an add-on component to the Viconet system. So I'm going to exaggerate. You have a Viconet system and it has 100,000 cameras and 10,000 NVRs. It's huge. You really don't want to go and touch each and every one of those. That add-on can be just put on the network, and it's going to start talking to the Viconet system and translate back and forth with your new Valerus front end. Those users who want to keep their Viconet look and feel, by all means, please go and do that, because we didn't have to go and touch the Viconet interface. We're just giving a translator to those who want to use Valerus. The whole solution is centralized. You install one add-on. You don't need to run. You don't need to get to the sites. You don't need to touch. The labor here is really, really minimum. There's no need to touch old hardware, which tends to be tricky. And all the new hardware, either when you add more to the system or when new hardware, old hardware retires and gets put away, can be put automatically on the new VMS. So the transition is just happening as the system matures. And in the front end, for those who want it, you got the Valerus interface. It talks to all the Viconet devices, gets live playback and PTZ controls right through them, and it makes it transparent to the user. So we believe that's the simple and easy way to take an old system and move to a new one when those are ready to transition. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the listening. I'm going to give the stage back to Fred and let him summarize what we talked about.
Excellent. I appreciate that, Guy. Obviously, a lot to talk about and to go through in such a short period of time. So one of the things we really want to encourage you guys, if you are going to be in Orlando, feel free to swing by our booth, 1426. You can schedule anything or any meetings with us either through our website, very easy to navigate there, or you can contact us directly. Like I said before, we are going to be able to get to quite a few of your questions afterwards privately. In terms of product availability, Vicon Valerus is available today. Now the GA is available by December 1st. So if you have a project that's sort of in that design phase of between 6 to 9 months, we see that this is a really nice fit for that. But that is where we stand right now. It is on a price list, so if you need to get some information on this, we do encourage you to get in contact with your local RSM from Vicon. And finally, just in terms of timing here, this is our contact information. You can contact us any way you want, through our web, through email, or through phone. We really wanted to keep this within an hour, so it looks like we got about 4 minutes or so. So we can probably take about 3 questions. I'm going to read these out. This is just based on some of the questions that have come in that have a little bit of overlap. So one of the questions, I'll start with a layup, is when is the drawing for the iPad? So many of you guys probably saw that there's an iPad drawing on our website. That is going to be a random drawing that will be going out on Monday. So if you receive an email from us, make sure to reply with your address and we'll send you the iPad if you are chosen as the winner. It is going to be for anyone that registered for this webinar. Another question that I saw a little overlap on is, do you need to be certified to sell Valerus? If so, when and how much will training be? Well, we are building out a comprehensive training program around the Vicon Valerus product. In terms of its GA and where we are in training, you do have to be certified to sell Valerus, and we're building out that training program right now. It will be available at the end of the year. You'll have more information on this coming on the website and probably through some mailers as well. So we'll make sure to keep that communication up. The last question that I'd like to address here, I'm going to have Guy help out, but it's the question of the future of the platform. Specifically, how are we going to support cloud or VSaaS?
That's an excellent one. We all see VSaaS and cloud happening around us. And really, in some industries, it's more mature. In ours, it's just starting. But we have designed Valerus with cloud in mind. And what that means is we do understand that our industry will be slowly, when bandwidth and some security questions allow it, have applications that cloud will be really, really compatible with, hosting and providing multiple tenant solutions. So our foundation, everything that Valerus was built around, has cloud in mind. We are taking our time trying to understand truly which cloud to use, as well as what the industry can do with that. But we're already putting some hooks in there that will allow us to transition as soon as that becomes a reality. So very good question.
All right, thanks very much, Guy. All right, so we're closing in on the hour here. On behalf of Guy and myself and the rest of Vicon, we want to thank you very, very much for your attendance today. Hopefully you're as excited as we are. Again, feel free to reach out to us in any way that you want. Feel free to reach out to your RSM. And if you are going to be at the ASIS event down in Orlando, feel free to swing by. Thanks again, and we will be in touch both with questions, and a full recording of this webinar has happened as well, so we'll make that available as a link on our website. Thanks again for your time, everyone.